everybody, my name's Liz, I'm the baker that sews. Welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you're a subscriber. As always, it's really lovely to have you here as I share my sewing journey. So welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one of my Sunday sewing catch-ups and we're on episode 89. I've got lots and lots of things that I want to share with you, including an update on how I got on sewing the named Rita shirt dress. So I think I just started making that last weekend, so I can tell you how I got on with that. I'll also share any other things that I've been busy making. I have got some fabric, even though I'm on a bit of a fabric ban, but there's a couple of things that I've bought, one piece for my husband and one piece for myself whilst I was getting the fabric for my husband. And I have bought a pattern as well, but I'm going to explain why I've bought that pattern a little bit later on in the video. So before I dive into all the things I want to share with you today, I'll let you know what I'm wearing. And I'm wearing one of my autumnal themed dresses. I wore this earlier on in the week actually to school because we've been learning a song with the children all about harvest and vegetables and doing some Makaton signing with them. It's stuck in my head for the last couple of weeks whilst we've been singing it with the children. It's a really lovely song actually by a company called Singing Hands who teach Makaton. They're a charity and we've had them in school a few times. They're absolutely amazing. I'll link their website down below if you haven't heard about them. And on their YouTube channel, they've got tons of nursery rhyme songs and themed songs. We've been singing some Halloween songs as well. And there's one particular song called the Vegetable Song, which I'll also link down below if you've got any children and you're interested in singing a veggie song with them. The children that I teach have absolutely loved it. So I wore this dress, so I thought I'd pop it on today. It's made using one of my favourite dress patterns, the Dear and Doe Maya Sotis dress. And I have got ruffles on the sleeves. In terms of the ruffle on the hem, I didn't have enough of the fabric to do a wider, a deeper sort of ruffle. So it is slightly narrower than it normally is. I've got the buttons down the front. I have got the mandarin collar on this version, but I have got some versions where I've omitted that and I've just done a facing. It has got pockets and I love how gathered this fabric is. And it's just got all different squash all over it. Absolutely love the colours. You can just see the ruffle on the bottom. I didn't have enough to do sort of a deeper ruffle and it stops just below my knees and I've just got some boots on with the outfit today. And I did have a cardigan on when I popped out earlier on. So that's what I'm wearing. Where possible, I'll link patterns and fabric down below, and where possible, I'll put images in of me wearing all the different things that I talk about as well. So I'll start with what I've been busy making this week, and I've got a mixture of sewing and also crochet. So I do all the sewing together and then I put all the crochet together, but it won't take me too long to talk about the crochet things. So last weekend, I talked about the named Rita dress. So I've got the pattern here. So it was this pattern. I've had this pattern for years and years, and I've wanted to sew it up for absolutely ages. And I'd been put off because I'd read reviews about the casing aspect being a little bit tricky. Now, I have to be honest, I found that aspect of the pattern absolutely fine. It was other bits of the pattern that I didn't enjoy sewing up, and I'm not sure I'm going to revisit this dress pattern, I'll be honest. I'm really pleased with the overall look of it. I just didn't really enjoy the sewing process. And I don't know if I didn't enjoy the sewing process because I'd already gone into making the dress thinking this is going to be really hard. I consider myself to be quite a confident sewer. Like I can sew quite a lot of different garments, and I've sewn, you know, indie patterns, but I've also sewn patterns from the big 4 companies as well. I've sewn patterns where the instructions are really, really detailed, and I've also sewn patterns where you've got very few sort of pattern instructions. This dress, I didn't particularly enjoy sewing. There was a few aspects that it took me a while to make sense, and actually I ignored the instructions at various points and just thought, right, how should this come together? Use my knowledge of my previous sewing sort of patterns and try and figure out how it should come together. And the bits that I didn't enjoy sewing were attaching the facing, the collar. I had to really kind of maneuver the collar to get it to sit properly as well. And I just found it a little bit fiddly. There are other shirt dress patterns where I enjoy sewing them up more. So there's a pattern by Cocoa Crafts called the Honeycomb dress, which has got a yoke. It's a shirt dress. Really love that dress. It's got this gorgeous like tie detail at the sides, and I much preferred sewing that dress than I did to this one. I persevered with it and I'm really pleased that it's finished. But yeah, this is the style of the dress. So it's got these slits at the side, there's buttons down, so there's 10 buttons from the top to bottom. It's got this sort of lapel collar, and then the sleeves, you sew them where you turn it up on the inside for about 10 centimeters and stitch, and then you turn it on the outside for 5 centimeters and stitch. So it creates this sort of hem, this deep hem detail on the shirt sleeve. That gives a really lovely neat finish. The drawstring aspect, you're not given a pattern piece for that. Instead, they recommend that you use a piece of ribbon. What I ended up using, and I'll show you on my version, is I ended up using some bias tape, and I stitched that on the inside. And I found using bias tape, it lay flat, it didn't move around. When I pinned it to the inside of the dress, it was absolutely fine. And you create 2 buttonholes either side of the dress, and then you thread the drawstring through. I've got some cream drawstring that I got from New CraftHouse, and it goes beautifully with the dress, the fabric that I chose. And I used a viscose fabric that came in a So Helly Jane box. I know that I'm going to get loads of wear out of this dress. I really love the overall look of it, and I really love the way that it fits me as well. I just didn't really enjoy sewing it up. So it's called the Rita Midi shirt dress. I also found that it came up quite long on me. I need to go and have a look on Instagram to see where the finished sort of length should be, but I ended up taking a little bit of length off the dress. So it's a midi length shirt dress with button closure on the front and drawstring closure at the waist. The sleeves with wide sewn in turn-ups, shirt collar and yoked bodice, breast pockets with box pleats and deep vents at the side seams. I really love the pockets actually. I think they look really lovely on the finished dress. In terms of fabrics, they recommend a light or medium weight fabric with drape, and their sample is made of rayon. And I would say, I'd asked a while ago if needle cord, a fine needle cord fabric would work for this dress pattern. Lots of people said no because of the drawstring, and actually you do need a drapey fabric for that drawstring, otherwise it would create quite a lot of bulk around your waist. But yes, you can see, here is my version. It's quite tricky to see actually because it's such a busy fabric. Let me show you the pockets. So those are the pockets. Again, it's going to be really tricky to see, but it's got that box pleat. The pockets sort of camouflage into the dress. And then you've got that lovely collar detail here. I found that aspect of sewing a little bit fiddly. It's got the lovely yoke on the inside, and then you can't see, but there is a yoke on the back as well. You can just make out the seam. And then the sleeves, you've got this really deep sort of turn up, but it also gives you a really lovely, neat finish on the inside as well. And they stop at a really nice length on my arms. And then you've got, if I stand up, you've got that really lovely side slit, or the deep vent that they refer to. Where's the other one? There. And then you've got that lovely drawstring, and I think the cord that I've gone for works really nicely with the dress. And then in terms of buttons, I think these were Paige Joanna buttons. I've just gone for a green button, because that was the button that I had 10 of, and actually I really like the green with that floral detail on the dress. I will put pictures in of me wearing this dress so you can see what it looks like on me. And then if I go on the inside of the dress, I'll show you what the channel looks like where I put the drawstring in. So it's got purple on the inside, but I went with a pink bias tape, and actually it's quite a wide bias tape, but it meant that it was actually quite sturdy, it didn't move around or anything like that. And actually that was the bit I was worried about, because I'd read loads of reviews saying it was a bit fiddly, but I found that actually quite a straightforward step for sewing up the dress. So I'm glad I've tried the pattern, because I've wanted to try it for ages. I feel like I've kind of scratched that itch of testing out the pattern and giving it a try. It's not a pattern I'm going to rush back to. I mean, I may do after a little bit of time has kind of lapsed. And maybe if I did try it again, I might feel a little bit more confident, because I know that I can manage to sew this up. But there are other dress patterns that I know that I will enjoy going back to, like the honeycomb. That's a really enjoyable pattern to sew up, and it's a pattern that I'd love to revisit actually. But yeah, I'm pleased I've used this fabric. I think this fabric works beautifully. It's got just the right amount of drape, and you'll see where the drawstring is across my waist, it's not too bulky because I've used a really lightweight fabric. So thank you to everybody that recommended that I used a lightweight fabric for this pattern. So once I'd sewn that shirt dress up, I then went through my stash because I wanted to sew something up that I knew would come together fairly quickly. So almost like a palette cleanser. And I had some viscose jersey fabric in my stash that I got from Rainbow Fabrics in a red leopard print, so the opposite colour to the yellow mustardy leopard print that I used last weekend. And I knew when I bought this fabric what I wanted to turn it into, and I wanted to sew up this pattern, which is the Deer and Doe, I think it's called the Orage, yes, the Orage, O-R-A-G-E dress. You can also sew up a top, and you can do a crop top, and then you can also sew up just the skirt as well. It's got this really beautiful sort of dropped, well, is that a dropped hem? I don't know how you describe that. It's higher up at the sides and it drops at the front and it drops at the back. It's absolutely beautiful. Really love this detail here. I've sewn up 2 versions of this dress already. One in this beautiful velvet embroidered fabric that I got from Fabric Godmother, and then I've sewn one up in like a white viscose jersey with polka dots all over it. I actually ended up wearing that version as a fancy dress costume. When it was World Book Day, we dressed up as Dalmatians. And I had this gorgeous red leopard print fabric. It's coming up really bright on the camera. It's absolutely beautiful, that I got from Rainbow Fabrics. And I knew when I bought this fabric that I wanted to turn it into the Deer and Doe Orage dress. So I've sewn it with long sleeves because this is something that I'm going to pair with tights and boots. It's got that beautiful opening detail, which looks like it's complicated, but actually it's really straightforward to sew up. I absolutely love this dress. It feels like quite a fitted dress, but actually because of the way that the skirt is, and it's a viscose jersey, it's not too fitted across the tummy area, and it flares out. I just absolutely love the shape of that skirt. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's not too revealing across the bust area where you've got that opening. It doesn't feel too revealing. And then it's got this really gorgeous sort of mock turtleneck sort of neckline as well, which kind of comes up to about here. You'll see on the photos that I put in what it looks like. But yeah, I really enjoyed sewing this up. I love this dress. I think it's such a beautiful dress. And it's a really interesting kind of shape and design where you've got this opening here. And the way that you do that is you've got like a front pattern piece here and you bind it, and then you've got a pattern piece underneath and they overlap each other. And then you've just got the back bodice, the neckline band piece, the long sleeves, and then the skirt piece as well. I'm really looking forward to wearing this in the autumn winter. Those long sleeves will keep me nice and warm, and I'm just going to pair it with some tights, and then I've just got some ankle boots, which I think will work really nicely as well. And just a really pretty dress for when I'm going out with my husband, or if I'm going out with friends, or any Christmas parties that I've got to look forward to as well. I really enjoyed sewing that one up. And yeah, this pattern is great. I've sewn the dress version, that's my 3rd dress version. Then I've also sewn up a version where I've just sewn up the skirt as well. These are the line drawings, just so you can see what it looks like. It's got this beautiful sort of opening at the bodice, and then this really gorgeous skirt detail as well. And then in terms of fabric recommendations for the Orage, they recommend very lightweight to lightweight jersey or interlock knit, like rayon, lyocell, bamboo wool or silk, containing elastane with at least 60% stretch. So this viscose jersey was perfect for the pattern. It's really lovely and drapey and quite bouncy as well. So that's all of the things that I've been busy sewing. So now I've just got a couple of things that I wanted to share with you that I have been busy crocheting. And I shared, was it last weekend or was it the weekend before? I shared the granny collar that I'd been crocheting, and it had all ruffled at the back. And the general consensus was that I would need to frog a few rows of the granny stripe stitch because I'd increased it too quickly. There was too much volume basically. So I took everybody's advice and I started to frog it. But actually, when I was frogging it, I realised that I would have to frog quite a few of the rows, and I came to the decision that actually it was just better to just start the granny collar again. So that's exactly what I did. And I'm really pleased that I have finished the granny stripe collar. So it's a pattern by Realm Designs. I'll put an image in of what it looks like. But here is the finished granny stripe collar. So I've got all those beautiful stripes in there, and I just used random colours that I had in my stash, and then it's finished with like an edging. It's a really beautiful kind of scalloped edging, and I just used black to finish. I have worn it. I've worn it with a plain jumper and my rickrack skirt, which I'll put an image in of me wearing that now. But this sits so much flatter, which is great. And then you just chain, you create 2 chains of crochet either side to sort of fasten it off. But yeah, I'm really pleased that I decided to start again with the granny collar. It sits so much flatter, and I know that I'm going to get lots and lots of wear out of this as a little accessory to some of my outfits. And I really love how this goes with the rickrack skirt as well. And I've got lots of plain jumpers that I know I'll be able to lay this over the top of, because I can match one of the colours that I've got. So I've got really gorgeous green jumper that I know this would go really nicely on the top of, with some skirts and some trousers that I've got as well. So yeah, thank you to everybody that encouraged me to just either frog it or start again. It actually didn't take me a huge amount of time, and I really enjoyed the process of crocheting that. And then the other pattern that I've been busy crocheting, as well as lots of other things, I've got my jumper on the go still, is another pattern by Realm Designs, and it's called the Love Heart Scrunchie, and it creates this really gorgeous scrunchie that looks like this. I don't often put my hair up, but I just wanted to have a go at this. And you create these little love hearts with crochet, and you start off by crocheting around just a regular sort of hairband. And I really enjoyed just sitting and crocheting this. It probably took less than an hour. I didn't really time myself because we were just watching a film whilst I was having a go at crocheting it up. But yeah, it's a really cute design, and I really love the green and the pink together as well. Next time I have a go at doing this, I'll probably just use one colour for the base of the hairband, and then I'll probably use the same colour for the love heart detail, because I've gone with pink and then I've done green at the top as well. But I think I'll probably just go with one colour to make the love heart. But that was a really enjoyable pattern. I think it was a couple of pounds from their website. And then that spurred Lola on, and Lola's had a go at making her own hair bobbles as well. Let me grab a few that she's made. She's really enjoyed just crocheting around hairbands just to make like flower details. So she's done that one. And then she's done some smaller ones as well, and she's really enjoyed wearing those. She's still really enjoying crocheting as well, which is really lovely to see. So we're now just thinking about Christmas presents, and I'm crocheting some coasters at the moment, and then we're also going to be crocheting some Christmas decorations together as well, which has been really enjoyable. We've just been putting a film on, sitting on the sofa and crocheting together, which I've really enjoyed. So still very much enjoying learning to crochet, and I've still got my jumper on the go, and I've also started a cardigan, and this is another pattern by Realm Designs. I really enjoy their patterns. I find their instructions are really straightforward. So I'm just doing colour blocked. I'm just using the same green wool because I think that will be, one, it's my favourite colour, but I also think I'll be able to use that to complement quite a lot of my sort of garments that I've got already. The pattern is called the Striped Bow Tie Cardigan, and the idea is that you crochet rows of different colours. I'm actually choosing to just use the same colour, so I've got loads of balls of this green wool, so I'm actually just going to use one colour. But you could have lots and lots of fun with the pattern and use different colours to create that gorgeous striped design detail. Put an image in of what the cardigan looks like. But I'm really enjoying sort of the process of crocheting that up. It's quite a straightforward pattern. I'm just doing rows of treble crochet at the moment. I need to do like 30 rows to create the back piece of the cardigan. And then I'll do the 2 front pieces, and then I'll do the sleeves and put it all together. So yeah, I'm just going to keep that going as well. So I'm just going to keep on going with all my different crochet projects, just like I am doing with all of my sewing projects as well. So that's everything that I've been busy making this week. Just enjoying lots of different things, and really pleased that I've actually finished sewing the Rita shirt dress, and I've had a go at sewing up that pattern after wanting to do it for such a long time. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was some patterns that have just been released by Sew Over It, and it's in collaboration with Jazzy Rose Flowers, which is Lisa's kind of new flower business. So she's actually sold Sew Over It to Rosie, who's taken it over, so that she can concentrate on her flower farming business. And it's been amazing to see her sort of progress with that since she started it. And in collaboration, they've come up with 3 patterns with kind of hobbies in mind. So there's an apron pattern, which I've bought because I think that's going to make some brilliant Christmas presents. There's also an overalls pattern, which is like a loose fitted kind of overalls pattern, with the idea that you could wear like leggings and a jumper underneath and still fit into the overalls and use it as almost like an outer garment if you're doing gardening, you're working on your allotment, you're an artist and you're painting or doing pottery in your shed. And the idea is that it's almost like a protective outer layer that's going to keep you warm, but also protect your clothes from any of the dirt and things from your hobby. And then there's also a hobby bag as well, which looks like a really interesting pattern, and it's got loads and loads of different pockets that you can add into the bag as well. It looks really robust. I'm actually considering making one of these for Lola so she can store all of her crochet things. I think it would come in really handy. At the moment she's got lots of bags of various projects, kind of taking after me, having lots of different things on the go at once. So I think it might help if I made her a little bag. Well, it's not a little bag actually, it's quite a substantial bag, with lots of different pockets, so she could keep all of her projects together, all of the wool that she wants to use, and obviously all of her crochet hooks and her scissors as well. So I've actually bought the apron pattern, and I've also bought the hobby bag pattern as well. So I've just got some information about the patterns in my little notebook. So the overalls are £15.50. They're all PDF only patterns. The overalls come in sizes 6 to 30. The apron is £3.50, and that comes in sizes 6 to 30. And for the apron, it crosses at the back, so there are no fiddly fastenings. There's no closures. It's got really roomy pockets that you can divide up, so you have a few pockets on the front, or you can just have one giant pocket. They recommend mid-weight woven fabrics like a cotton twill or cotton drill, denim or canvas. And then with the bag, it's called the hobby bag, and it's £5.50. And the bag has got up to 10 pockets that you can include in the bag as well. I'll put pictures in of what they all look like. I haven't bought the overalls because I've got loads of different patterns for the overalls, and I don't think I would have a reason to make overalls to go over the top of my clothes. But I have bought the apron and I have bought the bag because I can see them coming in really handy for gifts, and I'm already starting to think ahead to Christmas. So I'm busy crocheting some gifts, but I'm also busy sort of starting to sew up some gifts as well. So they look like really great patterns, and I'm really looking forward to giving both of them a try. And once I've tried them out, I'll let you know how I get on with them as well. I have been buying some fabric. The first fabric I've bought, well, both of them are from New CraftHouse. I listened to their podcast, which was about their sustainability challenge. And in the podcast, they mentioned that they've got loads of fabrics on their website that are currently in the sale, and actually quite a lot of money kind of knocked off the price of the fabrics because they're trying to kind of make some space. So there's two fabrics that I bought, one for my husband. This time of year, he's always asking for like cozy loungewear. So he had a little look on the website and he's chosen some mustard fabric. So I'll start with that. I've got 3 meters of it, so I've got enough to make him a jumper and some matching trousers. And it's this gorgeous mustard coloured, what did they describe it as? Organic interlock jersey. I wasn't sure if it was going to be too lightweight, but actually it is quite a substantial. It's not super thick, which is great because where we live, we actually get quite warm. We don't need to like layer up. We're quite fortunate, but it is fairly thick, but it's not like thick like a sweatshirting fabric. But it's got a nice amount of sort of weight to it, but it's also got a nice amount of drape to it. And on their website, they do recommend that this is good for sort of loungewear. So I'm probably going to use the men's Hudson pants pattern, and I'll probably use, there is an I Am Patterns, I want to say it's the Artemis jumper, but I might be completely wrong with the name of it. But there's, no, the Apollon jumper pattern. I've sewn that up quite a few times for him. So I'll probably use those two patterns together just to sew him up some loungewear. And whilst I was buying that fabric, I thought I might as well have a little look for myself. So I saw this absolutely gorgeous cloche fabric. I think I'm saying that correctly. I listened to them saying this type of fabric on their podcast. It's spelt CLOQUE, and this was described as tea party. Probably the wrong season to be buying this kind of fabric. It's got a white background. It's got these gorgeous like pale pink dots all over it, and then these beautiful roses. Absolutely love them. I got 3 meters of this fabric, and this is definitely going to become a dress. And the pattern that I was thinking of was actually one of the New CraftHouse patterns, the everyday dress. I think this would work so nicely for that pattern. And I bought 3 meters of this fabric. It's quite a thick fabric, so I think it'd make a really nice kind of springtime dress when the weather's just starting to warm up, but it's not like super warm. It's got this really gorgeous like crinkly texture to it as well. Yeah, and I just really fell in love with the design detail of that. I think it's such a beautiful fabric with those roses all over it, and then these gorgeous little pink dots. So this is going to go in my stash for now because I don't need to sew up an everyday dress yet. And I've got 3 meters of that, so that should be enough to sew up a version of the everyday dress. But yeah, they've got loads of fabrics for sale at the moment over on their website. So I link their website down below, in particular the sales section. They've got some absolutely gorgeous fabrics. I did have to resist quite a few, but as I was buying fabric for my husband, I thought I'd treat myself to this beautiful fabric. And then the other fabric hasn't arrived yet, but I did manage to swap my So Hilly Jane fabric that I shared last weekend. So I'm very excited about getting the other colourway of that fabric. So I'll probably share that next weekend when it arrives. But thank you to everybody that offered to swap that fabric with me. I also wanted to say thank you for all your suggestions on my latest video that came out on Wednesday, where I was sharing 5 fabrics from my stash. I'm going to be sharing more fabrics from my stash to get lots of ideas and inspiration, because all of the comments were absolutely amazing and so inspiring. So thank you to everybody that commented on that video. In particular, the cocktail fabric got a lot of love, and lots of people suggested the same thing, which was a shirt for my husband, and then if there was any leftovers, making myself a shirt too. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. When I was getting all those comments, I was sharing them with my husband, and I said, would you be up for wearing a shirt in that fabric for our holiday? And he was really excited about that idea. So I'm definitely going to use that fabric to sew up a shirt for him. Probably use the McCall's shirt pattern because it's my favourite pattern to sew up for him. He really likes the fit and the feel of that shirt as well. I think it's the M6044 shirt pattern. I'll put an image in now of what it looks like. And then in terms of a shirt pattern for me, I'm not sure which one I would go for yet. Maybe the Anna Allen Anthea blouse, because I really love that puff sleeve detail if I've got enough of the fabric. So yeah, thank you to everybody that commented on that video. You've given me loads of ideas for all of those fabrics, so thank you. So what I'm planning to do is share all of my fabrics eventually from my stash, so you get to see all of the fabrics that I've got. I think it's going to take me a while to share them, probably a good couple of months, but the first video, I've just found it really inspiring getting all of your thoughts and ideas for the fabric, so thanks. So the next thing I wanted to share was a small YouTube sewing channel, following on from last weekend when I talked about the hashtag small sewing channel. I wanted to share Michelle, who is the menopausal sewer over on YouTube. I'll link her channel down below. She's got loads of videos over on her channel, and she's got quite a few videos where she talks about specific patterns, so almost doing sort of a pattern review and talking about how she got on with the pattern as well. She also takes part in the Friday sews, and she's just shared her sew upcycle video as well. So that's a challenge that's running on Instagram at the moment, and I've got my video coming out next week. I think it's coming out on Wednesday, all about the sew upcycle challenge. So head over to Michelle's channel, give her a little follow, and yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy watching all of her videos. She's got lots of videos on her channel for you to watch already. So there's a new sewing challenge that's coming back, and it's called A Gift to November. This ran last year, and it was a really enjoyable challenge that was full of inspiration, and it's being run by Sew Like Dottie and Adam Sews. So it's coming back in November. There will be lots of vloggers talking about the challenge and giving you lots and lots of ideas, and the idea behind it is to start thinking about gifts that we could sew in preparation for Christmas or any celebrations that we've got coming up. So I've already started thinking about a couple of gifts that I already want to start sewing up for people. This time of year, I always start thinking about my colleagues because I manage quite a big team, and I always like to get them a present at Christmas. So I'm already starting to think about what I could make. In the summer, I made bottle bags for everybody. So I'm already starting to think about what I could make for everybody. And that's through a mixture of crochet and also sewing. So definitely going to be sewing up a few aprons. I'm definitely going to be sewing up some hobby bags. I'm going to be crocheting some coasters and things, but I'm really looking forward to getting lots and lots of inspiration from the challenge A Gift to November as well. So I always like to finish with some sewing plans, and it's currently half term, so it means I've got a little bit more time than usual to do a little bit of sewing. I've got my sew upcycle project that I am going to get going with. So I've ordered all of the things that I need to start sewing up the trainers that I want to sew up. So I'm going to start quilting together my fabric scraps, and I'm really excited about putting the trainers together. I've also got a denim jacket, which I talk about in my upcycle project. So it's this denim jacket. It's a really old denim jacket. I've had it in my stash for, well, before I started sewing actually, but I don't wear it. And the reason I don't wear it is because the sleeves are really slim fitting. So when I wear it, I feel quite restricted with the sleeves. It's a little bit faded on the back as well. So what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to remove the back panel here, and I'm going to insert some crochet. I'm not quite sure how much of the back panel to remove. I might remove all of these panels here and put in some crochet in the back. I'm also planning to remove the sleeves, and I'm currently crocheting some sleeves to put on the denim jacket. So it'd have crocheted sleeves and then a crochet back panel. So those are two quite substantial projects. I've got my Calais shirt dress, which I'm currently upcycling. I'm just removing some of the length from the shirt dress. I've also got a Deer and Doe, my Asotis, in this really fun Halloween fabric. So it's all cut out. I haven't started sewing that yet, but I will get on to sewing that. I've also got a Stylark Norman jumpsuit cut out in some blue, I think it was like a viscose linen fabric that I got years ago. It's like a navy colourway of fabric, and I know that that's going to really add to my wardrobe. And then I've also got the quilted Big Cat fabric, which I'm going to be turning into the Vicky Sews pattern, that gorgeous kind of hoodie, not hoodie, quilted jacket, which is kind of a pullover quilted jacket. So lots and lots of plans for this week. Lots of things that I'm really excited about trying out, particularly the trainers. And I'm also really looking forward to upcycling that denim jacket and also sewing up the Big Cat jacket as well. I'm sure there'll be lots of other things that I have on the go. Lots of crochet whilst we sit and watch films as well. But yes, very busy, but busy doing something that I really, really enjoy and I find nice and relaxing as well. So that was everything I wanted to share with you today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing what I've been getting up to, seeing some of the fabrics and hearing some of the patterns that I've been buying with firm plans in mind, and hearing what I'm going to be getting up to this week. I have got a video coming out on Wednesday where I'm talking about my sew upcycle plans, and then I'll be back next weekend with my Sunday sewing catch up as well. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified of when I bring out my next video. Thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.